Hello, welcome. Are you breasting boobily? Are you sitting comfortably? Good, because we're going to look at some r/men writing women today. I'm excited. I think it's going to be hilarious to see how exactly they view us. Probably not in the most favourable light, but let's find out, shall we? If that's something you're wanting to explore with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. So, first up, considering this is men writing women, we have a man writing a man in an equally unfavourable light, apparently. This says, Vonnegut does it for men too, from Cat's Cradle. The women's breasts were bare and paltry. The men wore loose loincloths that did little to conceal pens? Like pendulums on grandfather clocks. Next, this is from Grey Matters by William, whatever that says. I'm sorry, I can't read it and I don't want to guess and get it wrong and sound silly. Found this in a retro bookshop, opened it to a random page and was assaulted with this synonym. So it goes on to say, Vera unbuttons her cotton dress and steps lightly out of her entangling underclothes. The wind caresses her burgeoning body and makes her nurples pucker. I mean, that does happen, but still, it makes me laugh just reading pucker, I suppose. She runs her hand down across her tummy and the fuzz of maiden floss cupping her S, which hungers like the mouth of a raging vacuum cleaner. Huh? I could certainly say I've never felt like I've been able to Henry Hoover anything up with my downstairs, so I'm not sure where he got that one from. Next one's from Starship Troopers by Ribbit Heinlein. I love it too when everything on a girl moves in different directions. Hey, you have never... Well, then again, I don't know if you're a woman or a man, so you might have, but running down the stairs... with no supportive undergarments kind of feels like everything goes in its own direction, I'm not gonna lie. So they say, girls are simply wonderful. Just to stand on a corner and watch them going past is delightful. They don't walk, or at least not what we do when we walk. I don't know how to describe it, but it's much more complex and utterly delightful. They don't move just their feet. Everything moves in different directions, and all of it is graceful. Ooh, an antique call-out. It must be hard for a man to express his feelings, having no bosoms to rise and fall with emotion. This was 100% a call-out posting about male authors. Absolutely. Ooh, women writing women, okay. Women shouldn't curse. Get fucked, he blinked in surprise. Nothing makes me want to trail off every swear word I've ever heard in my life than somebody telling me that ladies don't swear. I do. A lot. So next up, actually, my chest tits tiddly. That was really hard to say, by the way. It took me a few takes. Gotta apologise to male authors because I just walked down the stairs and it turns out my chest did actually breast boobily. No, but seriously, I mean, I know that it's such a stupid thing and it's written so silly, but I mean, yeah. YouTube's not going to like this one. I just know it. The reach is going to be so bad. So, this one is from Tumblr. Eye-opening little anecdote from a friend who ran a tabletop game for all his male gaming group. He gender-flipped every character in the pre-written move, resulting in all-female setting. His players grew increasingly paranoid and were convinced of a conspiracy. The players, convinced that there was some sort of murder cult going on, started scouring the setting for men. The pre-written module's village contained only one female character, the wife of the blacksmith, unnamed, which of course was all the more suspicious to them. There was nothing my friend could do to convince his players that there wasn't a great conspiracy, or at least a basement full of dead dudes. And then someone says, this could be a new Bechdel test. If you gender swap all the characters, does it feel like something must have happened to all the men? Yeah, I mean, it's quite common, isn't it? When playing like tabletop games and stuff, like a lot of modules are written and it's all blokes. It's all around men. So far, yeah, considering I'm playing with my D&D group for, I'd say at least 5 years. I think it's 5 years. I don't think we've had a single female big bad boss. Like, not one, actually, thinking about it now. Thoughts as a Woman During an Apocalypse as You Starve to Death, run by Blake Crouch. This should be very interesting. You? Dee broke a smile. I've probably lost 25 pounds these last 3 weeks. I can't stop thinking about how hot I'd look in a little bikini. Ah, yes. Yes, because the world is ending and you're thinking that you look real good and a bikini would be great. Uh-huh. I do think that medieval poets were the OG men writing women. Arabic poetry can be absolutely gorgeous with the way that poets express these beautifully complex emotions so easily. And then there is this from Abu Hassan al-Sari, 972 CE. She has an ass below a slender waist that oppresses us both. It tortures me when I think about it and tires her out when she moves to stand. Some inspiration for any aspiring writers out there. Her eyes were the colour of small potatoes. No, but why do they do that? In every book I've read lately, the main character has been some sort of mix of blonde and brown with brown eyes. They make a big deal about how boring they are, how simple they are, and they're always small. And I'm like, can we get a female lead who isn't tiny, plain as hell, and like 19? Because being in my 30s, I don't want to read about a 19-year-old going and doing those kind of things with the fairy men, okay? I don't want to. I feel weird about it. Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. Oh my God. Please, no. Why? What is wrong with you? When she accidentally finishes on his fingers during her pap smear and he decides to treat her as another patient. I am sorry, but I don't think this person has ever had a pap smear in their life. Now, I'm assuming a pap smear is a cervical smear because we don't call it that over here. We just call it a smear or cervical smear. That's not how that works. If they're like digging fists in, they're doing it wrong. They use like a massive, long, little, teeny tiny broom on a stick. They're not putting hands up there. They're not wearing you like a glove puppet, my love. What are you doing? Let's go back to the drawing board and do some research before we write this stuff, because it makes me want to pluck out thine eyes. I had to move away from anything that Book Talk suggested because, to be quite frank, I started to feel slightly nauseous with the amount of times that juices was used. And I know it's such a simple word, but that has now become like moist to me. It's equally as disturbing to me now. So, The Scrivener's Bones by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I've heard he's actually like really good writer and he's got some really good stuff. So don't disappoint me, Brandon, okay? I'll admit I didn't know this, but it's a neat fact. Okay. Girls, you might have noticed, can do things like this to guys. It's a result of their powerful pheromones. They evolved that way, gaining the ability to make us men fuzzy-headed. So it would be easier for them to hit us on the heads with hardback fantasy novels and steal our cheese sticks. Okay, he didn't disappoint me. I'll let him off. Nobody tell me if he's got like terrible stuff written in his books, okay? Let me find out on my own, because I've heard he's got actually some really good stories. 1968, Thermicin ad. I suffered menstrual cramps. Okay, here we go. So already a picture of a dude in an article about menstrual cramps is wild. I suffered from menstrual cramps. I feel sorry for any woman who suffers from menstrual pain, but I also feel sorry for her husband. Cramps, headaches, and body aches used to make my wife so depressed, so irritable, that I suffered through those bad days each month too. As you should. She tried just about everything. Then one day, the druggist told, I'm guessing that's a pharmacist, told her to try Thermicin. It seems that Thermicin is formulated to relieve every single one of the common symptoms of menstrual pain whenever they occur. But most important, its 5-ingredient formula is designed to concentrate on the worst symptoms of all, cramps. Well, life has been different for my wife and for me ever since she first used Famicin. Thanks to Famicin, she now acts like the woman I married every day of the month. I recommend Famicin to any woman who is suffering from menstrual pain. Yeah, sure. I'm sure Famicin can fix, crippling PMDD when you want to sling yourself out the window. But yeah, sure, I'm sure it works like that. I bet it's great. God, Emperor of June by Frank Herbert. You ever watch a guy climb a wall so good you can arrive? Excuse me? That's wild. She could hear her heart hammering, though. Idaho's venture was like S, she thought. It was not passively erotic, but akin to rare magic in the way it seized her. She had to keep reminding herself that Idaho was not for her. He is for Siona, if he survives. And if he failed, then Siona would try, Siona would succeed, or she would not. Naylor wondered, though, if she might experience an O should Idaho reach the top. He was so close to it now. Now, I know I'm going to butcher this name. Please forgive me. Nietzsche? I don't know. I really tried. The incel. The happiness of man is, I will. The happiness of a woman is, he wills. Excuse me? Abso-frickin-lutely not. Nobody tells me what to do. In fact, if you tell me not to do something, I will absolutely do it. Behold, just now, the world became perfect, thus thinks any woman who obeys out of total love. And a woman must obey and find a depth for her surface. Surface is a woman's disposition, a stormily moving skin over shallow waters. But a man's disposition is deep. Its torrent rushes through the subterranean caves. A woman senses its strength, but does not comprehend it. Yeah, this is definitely out of an incel playbook now, isn't it? Yes, women in our friggin' shallow waters, eh? And then this one says, comically insistent breasts. Oh, yes, okay. Even her breasts he now noticed with an amused appreciation. Even her breasts were impertinent, small, but beneath the pale blue stuff of her dress pointed firm, almost comically insistent. No ashamed deflation here. Ah, yes, I too like to point the way with my chest. I let them do the talking, you see. I'm not a big talker, but them, can't shut them up. They're very bossy. Which reminds me, now this is a very UK reference, okay? So I don't know if anyone's going to get it, because it's a UK reference and a very millennial reference as well. Well, millennial or above, I suppose, or back. I don't know how to say it. I'm getting away from the point here already. There was a program called Bo Selector that used to be on when I was like kid, teenager. We would watch it. We weren't supposed to. We did anyway. And there was this like skit of like a plasticine, I think, boob, and the nip talked. That image has just come racing back into my head, and I mean, it makes sense why millennials are so weird, doesn't it, really? The Institute by Stephen King, 2019. He really writes women terribly, and some of the most out-of-pocket stuff, which is such a shame, because obviously he's also somebody who, in like the horror genre, was quite prominent. But anyway, let's have a look at what he's got to say here. So he's talking about 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. They were laughing and talking animatedly. To Eileen, they looked like kids anywhere. The girls in skirts and leggings, their bosoms just beginning to bloom. Luke and his friend Rolf in baggy cords. Yeah, why'd you have to mention their baps? Like, I don't understand. That was very unneeded. Well, that was some refreshing introspection. Okay. Confident in my ability to properly tennis, I take the court. I smile at my opponent. Serena does not return the gesture. She'd be prettier if she did, I think. She serves. The ball passes cleanly through my skull, killing me instantly. And this was in reply to a YouGov tweet saying 1 in 8 men, 12%, say that they could win a point in a game of tennis against 23-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams. Aye, sure you could. This one says, this applies here. Anytime a beautiful 23-year-old woman in a movie is attracted to a mediocre man played by a comedian who wrote the script, I count it as a plot hole. Uno reverse card. I'm going to write about William Balls the way male writers write about boobs. His nuts, once so full and heaving in the summers of his youth, now clung to his pelvis as a reminder of the cold and his powerlessness. Oh, please, someone write a book just like that all the way through. It would be absolutely hilarious. Top tier bants. Oh, here we go. As a woman who totally is not the orange Cheeto man himself, based on the fact that I work for Donald as his secretary and therefore know him well, I think he treats women with great respect, contrary to what Judy Baumgold implied in her article. I do believe any man in America gets more calls from women wanting to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women, the most successful women, all women love the orange Cheeto man. I've never been drier than when I see his pictures, so beg to differ, my love. Sure, Carolyn, sure. I mean, yeah, Carolyn. I say in air quotes. And on that delightful last note, I believe we will leave it there for today. Let me know what you thought of this subreddit. I find it hilarious. Unfortunately, not a lot gets posted in it that's like good these days, because it seems to be that authors are either realizing they're going to embarrass themselves and don't do it, or the calibers of author are going up. Like, we're having a lot more women authors and a lot more guys that don't just see women as weird fleshy objects. So it's like, yeah, we're not getting so many breasting booblies anymore, which is a shame for the subreddit, but you know, good for literature as a whole. Although, again, some of those TikTok recommended book talk books, my goodness. There's that one, isn't there, where it's like that I've not read it because I refuse to, because quite frankly, it makes me want to throw up just what it's based on. A 17-year-old sleeping with a stepdad and her step siblings, I think it was. And there was a big uproar about it. And people go hard protecting that book. And like, people like say it with their whole chest and their faces. And I'm like, the fuck? What is wrong with you? But yeah, very odd. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end with me, then I very much appreciate you. If you give a little like and subscribe, it'll help you find your way back here, so don't forget to do that. Also, notifications on. Then whenever I post, it'll be a little bing, I think, if it actually works. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. I hope you have a good rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing today. Goodbye.